Hello, have you ever imagined how distressing it would be to have the grace, have the passion, have the zeal to go to college or university to uh, improve upon yourself for the benefit of your society and the nation at large, but simply you lack the financial resources to power this dream? This, unfortunately, is the reality of most Ghanaian young men and women. As a result, civil society organizations, benevolent organizations, governments, and religious organizations have instituted various scholarship schemes. But it appears that these young men and women still are not in the know of these scholarship opportunities. As a precursor to a number of scholarships I will be announcing globally in the coming days, I have decided to throw the spotlight and on the largest scholarship awarding institution in Ghana and the opportunities they have to offer for students wanting to school locally and in abroad. Now, the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat is an extra ministerial body established under the presidency, and it has the core mandate of administering all government scholarships. It operates under the theme human resource development, employment, and productivity under the Ghana Shared Growth and Development Authority and the Sustainable Development Goal 4, which amongst others emphasizes inclusive and equitable education for all Ghanaians. Now, on the basis of the schooling destination of the awardees, that is the beneficiaries of the awards, the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat offers, I have classified I have classified their mode of awards into two. The first one is local tertiary, and then the second is um, foreign tertiary. Now, let's look at the local tertiary. When I say the local tertiary, I'm simply referring to awards that are given to students who are schooling in Ghana. So institutions who students in institutions in Ghana, Legon, UCC, Winneba, KNUST, and the other public institutions. Now let's look at how these awards, this local tertiary award scheme works. Now, the local tertiary awards are in the form of payment of thesis and then bursary grants. Yes, so the local award scheme is in the payment of thesis and bursary grants to postgraduate students. Yes, to postgraduate students. These postgraduate students must be students of public institutions. Yes, so to benefit from this postgraduate uh, uh, award scheme, thesis and bursary award scheme, you must necessarily belong to be a student of a public institution. Now, there was also, apart from this one, there's also the disability grants that is given to physically challenged individuals. But before you are considered for this grant, you should prove that indeed, by way of a medical report, prove that indeed you are physically challenged, and then the severity of your challenge, the severity of your disability, the percentage of your disability must also be clearly stated. So first one, we have said that it is such local tertiary opportunities. One is for students, postgraduate students, in the form of grants and bursaries, thesis grants and bursaries. The second one uh, is a grant for students with disabilities. Let's look at the third category of local tertiary beneficiaries. Now, the third category is for medical students, and they are given what we call the long stay allowance. So if you want to be a beneficiary, if you want to be a beneficiary of this local tertiary award, you must belong to one of those three groups of people. You must either be a student in a postgraduate student in a public institution, in which case they are granted the thesis and bursary grants, and you must be disabled. Yes, and your disability must have been confirmed by a medical doctor with the severity of your disability clearly stated. And then you must also be a medical science student, uh, so you could benefit from the long stay package, the long stay package. So those are the three categories of people who are captured under the local tertiary beneficiaries group. Now, how do such people apply? How do such people apply? The application uh, mechanism is very simple. There are only four easy ways to applying for such local tertiary scholarships. You only have to open the web address at www.scholarshipgh.com, scholarshipgh.com. That is the first point. Secondly, you create an account to register. Thirdly, you complete the application form and upload academic transcripts, admission letters, and academic certificates. And then finally, you complete the online aptitude test and be scheduled for a selection interview in your selected district. So there were issues about uh, students having to travel all the way to Accra from across the country, and so the Secretariat thought it wise to decentralize the system so that people be could be interviewed and selected right from the district in which uh, they are from, or the district in which they apply. So that's about it. Local tertiary considers three categories of people: postgraduate students in the form of thesis and bursary grants. Secondly, physically challenged people who must prove that indeed they are physically challenged and the severity of their disability clearly stated. And then medical students for what we call the long stay allowance. Now, I've also uh, told you the steps in applying for these scholarships. That is category one for local tertiary students. We also have the foreign tertiary students. Of course, foreign tertiary students are those students who who school outside of Ghana and are granted scholarships by the scholarship secretariat. Now, it is important to note this. These foreign scholarships are of kinds. So we are done with the local tertiary scholarships. We are looking at the foreign tertiary scholarships. Now, the foreign scholarship scoring the foreign tertiary scholarships are of types. The first type is what we call the bilateral bilateral agreement scholarships. Yes, so by that, it means that the government of Ghana has entered into a bilateral agreement with the governments of the awarding institutions. Good. What it means is that there is what we call a counter funding, in which case the government of, in which case the funding of the education of the beneficiaries becomes the shared responsibility of the government of Ghana and the government of the hosting country. So that's about it. A bilateral agreement in which there was a counter funding. What do we mean by counter funding? A shared responsibility in terms of funding between the government of Ghana and the government of the host institutions. What it means is that These scholarships are awarded to the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Integration, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Integration. So to be able to qualify for this scholarship, you must necessarily uh, be selected by the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat because it's a bilateral agreement. Now, let's look at the countries that fall under this category. So the countries that fall under the bilateral agreement category: Russia. So Russia, Hungary, China, Algeria, Morocco, and then German government doctoral scholarship. What it means is that to be able to apply for any of these scholarships, you must do so through the scholarship secretariat. In fact, it is a scholarship secretariat that is going to do their selection as to whether you qualify to be awarded any of these scholarships. Note that under no circumstance can you apply on your own to any of these countries for to be granted a scholarship without having to pass through the scholarship secretariat. Russia, China, Morocco, Hungary, Algeria, German government scholarship. These are special scholarships that, that is a culmination of a bilateral agreement. So outside of these arrangements, institutions might offer their own scholarships, in which case you can apply. But if it is a bilateral agreement scholarship, then you must necessarily apply through the government of Ghana, through the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat. So that's it. Now, apart from this bilateral arrangement, there are other multilateral arrangements. Ghana, by virtue of her membership of the Commonwealth, also enters into multilateral arrangements with some countries, with some Commonwealth countries, in which case Ghana counterfunds, some of these projects. So it means that it becomes the funding of such awards becomes the shared responsibility of the government of Ghana and the governments of the awarding Commonwealth institution. Good. So that's about it. Now, apart from these bilateral scholarships, there are also other scholarships. Such scholarships are awarded to Ghana without any counterpart funding, and you can apply directly. You can apply directly for consideration of the awards without necessarily having to pass through the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat. For example, the Japanese government's MEXT scholarship can directly be applied. In fact, they require that you apply through their foreign embassy in Ghana. So the Japanese government MEXT scholarship, Australia government scholarship, Turkish government scholarship, and the Mauritius government scholarship. These are all scholarships that are 100% funded by the government of the awarding country. So it is not counter-funded by the government. Therefore, you can do an application, and the government and the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat is not responsible for recruiting the awardees into such institutions. So that is the major difference. Good. What I have said is that the body responsible for administering all governments, scholarships is the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat. You know, it has certain thematic areas wanting to address the gap, uh, the gap in terms of the gap in terms of science, technology, engineering, mathematics. You know, yes, and so the we call them government priority areas, and so government tends to favor people who are interested in pursuing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics related programs. Good. Uh, I said that on the basis of the location of the uh, institutions of the awardees, we can categorize the scholarships into two: local tertiary and then foreign tertiary. We said that local tertiary is for institutions that are local based, Legon, KNUST, and the likes. Now, three category of people are are eligible for awards under the local tertiary, and that is postgraduate students in public institutions. Remember that this does not include sandwich students or distance students, full-time postgraduate students of public institutions. The second is disability grants granted to people who are physically challenged. And then the third one is for allowances given to medical students for their long stay. That is the local tertiary. And then I came to the foreign tertiary where I said that it is categorized into two. The first one is a bilateral agreement, in which case government uh, government enters into a bilateral agreement with the government of the awarding institutions. I mentioned the countries under the bilateral agreements: Russia, China, Morocco, German, German government scholarships, Algeria, and then Hungary. So if you want to benefit from any of these bilateral arrangement scholarships, you necessarily must apply through the scholarship secretariat, because these scholarships are awarded to Ghana through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Integration. Therefore, if you want to benefit from any of those scholarships from any of those countries, you must necessarily apply through uh, through the government through the scholarship secretariat, unless that particular scholarship does not fall under the bilateral agreement scholarships. That's the first group. Now I said that apart from this group, there's also another group that is the uh, multilateral scholarships or multilateral agreement scholarships, and it is offered by Commonwealth states to Ghana. Now, Ghana is a Commonwealth state because it's a former colony of Britain, and by virtue of her membership of the Commonwealth states, it is a beneficiary of some scholarship awards. So there was also that multilateral arrangement. And then apart from that, there's another group of scholarship where there is no counter funding. That is to say that the government of Ghana does not take part in the funding of the awardees. In such cases, you can apply you can apply directly to such institutions without having to go under the screening of the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat. Good. So it is important that you note these points. I mentioned some of them. Ghana's I mentioned some of them: Australia government scholarship, Japanese government MES scholarship, Turkish government scholarships, and then Mauritius government scholarships. These are scholarships that are awarded directly to Ghanaians, and the government of Ghana does not fund any part of the fund, does not fund any. It's not a counter funder. It does not take part in the funding of the awards. So that is it. I'm sure that if you're a local student and you are interested in a scholarship opportunity, this has been an eye opener. In the same way, if you are a local student and you want to travel abroad, you want to take advantage of the foreign tertiary scheme, uh, this has been an eye opener as well. You look through the list, see which of them you can apply and which of them you must apply through the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat, and then look for the category where you can directly apply into the university or through the foreign missions of the hosting university. I'm sure you have been enlightened by this piece of information. In the coming days, as I said, I will be announcing a number of scholarships for your consumption. Thanks for watching. See you.